Hello everyone, a long time no see. My name is Tove. Welcome back to my channel, Tove Lovenitz, and welcome if you are new. About 4 weeks ago, I said, see you in 2 weeks. That was a lie. Sorry about that. Let's talk about everything that's happened since my last podcast. Yes, it is indeed almost halfway through February. Well, life happened, I guess you can say. There's nothing to apologize, there's nothing to worry about, everything is fine. Yeah, it is what it is when you have 2 children and a busy life. And then you decide to start a sourdough. I mean, yeah, that's what happened. What happened was that I got sick a couple weeks ago as well. And that's why I was gonna film last week, but then I was sick. My voice was terrible. So here we are. January. Yes, I started a sourdough. I got a 3rd child. Her name is Susan. Susan the sourdough. And I'm very proud of my sourdough. It took a couple of weeks to get going and to learn how to sort of bake with it. And now I really enjoy it. I baked a couple of breads and yeah, I'm a real influencer now having sourdough. Other thing that happened is, what am I wearing? I finished my doodle tee. I'm gonna sit up so you can see the last doodles. So this is my mushroom doodle from December. And then I did a heart doodle because I was so happy to be back, happy with the new year. And I just felt a lot of joy with this t-shirt. And then I finished up with like a geometric purple and blue pattern. And then I chose orange as a hem. Now I blocked this once and you can really see like the stitching for the color work is really nice. It has relaxed. You can see the floats, super nice. The only thing that I can think of doing is to do like a little bit of elastic in the hem to like firm it up a little bit. But other than that, I am so happy with this t-shirt. And as you know, it's been a very long project of mine. I started it 19th of May last year and I finished it 17th of January this year. The doodle tee, let's talk about it a little bit longer. The doodle tee is a yoke from a pattern called Heart Content by Jennifer Beeley. And that's the plan was actually to just knit the whole pattern of Jennifer. But then when I started to figure out the different colors and the color scheme I had on my yarn that I bought. This is like a doodle kit that I bought at a yarn fair. It didn't really work out and in the end I sort of scrapped the color plan of hers and I just did my own. So every doodle you see is a doodle of my own design from the internet, from another pattern. For example, you can maybe recognize the Lomme flowers from Sari Nordlund. And then sort of what I've found in the moment, what I've found suitable for that season. It's sort of a letter of, or a story of last year for me, which is like very deep and very nice to hear. Yes, the yarn is a doodle kit from a yarn fair and then drops merino white on the top. 233 grams all in all, so a fair amount as what a t-shirt is. So I'm very happy about that. I have lots of yarn left from the doodle tee, hence I started another project which I will talk about later. That's my first finished object from January. My second finished object from January is and you've seen it before, I showed it to you on the last podcast, it's the Heartside cardigan by Wool and Pine. I'm gonna try to fold it up and show it to you. Here we have it. That's the outside, all the way down to the hem. And that's the inside if someone is interested in that. I have new sound systems on and I'm trying to not to like mess around with it too much, so I'm sorry if that's actually happening, but okay. Let me know if the sound is good. The Heartside cardigan. Wool and Pine is, I would say for me, they're famous of scrappy color work patterns. That is unorganized chaos, basically, or organized chaos, maybe I should say. And this pattern was probably the same idea. It called for 2 strands of, like 4 colors, 2 strands of background color and 2 strands of foreground color to create a brioche style cardigan. Now, I have scraps, but I don't have much scraps that are finger weight yarn in the same type of yarn and with colors that sort of goes together in the amount that a cardigan would need. So I knew that that was not the plan for me. I, however, liked the pattern and the way the construction looked. So I decided to do my own take of it. And that was to use Drops Fiesta yarn. Now I've seen other people use Drops Fiesta a lot and they loved it. And of course, going to Finland over Christmas, my local yarn store is a distributor of Drops yarn. So I knew that I had a moment to actually buy it and support my local yarn store. Win-win for everyone. Right, so what I chose, so 2 strands of finger weight yarn would make DK weight, so that's Drops Fiesta as well, that would be perfect. So I chose a mixed color as the background, which is this mixed purple, a little bit of a beige, a little bit blue color code, which is number 15. And then I chose a neutral from their solid line, a neutral like grayish white for the foreground. And I purposely chose the like wild colors in the background and the neutral in the foreground because I knew that that would make the best effect. And as you can see, of course, you have the opposite colorway on the background, and as you can see, yeah, you almost don't see the white at all. It gets sort of, yeah, swallowed. So I'm very happy about my choice. Now, the construction of this cardigan, I've only spoken about it a little bit, so let's get into it as well. You start by doing garter stitch of like triangle garter stitch on the back, 2 of them, and then you pick up and sort of cast on stitches for the back brioche, and then you do the same for the front, the triangles in the front, and then you pick up the stitches and then you knit the brioche for the front, and then you bound it all together. You pick up some, I don't know if you pick up stitches. You do cast on some stitches underneath your arm. And then you continue brioche, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You do the hem, the same garter stitch hem with the bigger needle. Then I picked up for the sleeves, after that I think, which is very unlike me, but that's what I did. And then you finish the sleeves also with a hem, and then you do the big old neck line after that, picking up a lot of stitches for the neck. A heavy, a thick, but a very cozy cardigan. Is it the best fit? No, because it's quite thick, and with the brioche it's also very thick. I've tried brioche twice now, and I'm having the same issue with that sort of pattern, stitch pattern, and that is quite bulky. And if you have a DK weight bulky stitch knit pattern to begin with, it's not the greatest feeling, to be fair, but I really like it as a throw on cardigan if I'm super cold. The weather in the Netherlands is getting warmer. We have about like 9 degrees now Celsius in the daytime, which is quite nice. So we don't need super thick sweaters anymore underneath our coats and everything like that, but still it's nice to, throw on when you're home. So the hard side cardigan, I knitted size 4 using 4mm needles for the brioche part and 5.5mm needles for the hem part, and used 770 grams worth of yarn. So a great cardigan. You all know that I don't like purling, so cardigans is tough for me. Brioche is something different, and I enjoy that because it goes really fast. So it's a good endorphin based knit. The third finished object is my Ted's blanket. Now, I got quite a lot of yarn from a D-stash from one of my old colleagues, and those included 2 big chunks of logs of acrylic yarn. The first one of those big boys became a blanket for my daughter, and the second one became a blanket for my son. It's my own design, and the Ted's blanket is a play on the Jelly Roll blanket from, I'm sorry, I never remember her name. Anyway, the Jelly Roll blanket is sort of like an homage from Quilting World, I think, and you knit these stripes that you attach while knitting. I took that idea and I changed it a little bit, and I did it as a spiral instead of strips. So I started with a square, and then the first thing you do is sort of 2 corners. And this blanket has a lot of corners because you go round. And it's not a circular spiral, it's a rectangular one. So you have a lot of corners. And the corners I did with German short rows up and German short rows down. And the beginning one is basically you do 2 of those to get this, like you turn at the corner straight away. And after that, it's just knitting. Front and back, until you run out of yarn, basically. That's what I did. And I liked the size of the piece of blanket when I was at that point. You attach it with the row before using like an SSK, and that creates this lovely braided motif, which I really enjoyed. And since this is a lot of knitting and purling, I mirror knit this blanket. I would highly recommend this pattern, which I may or may not actually make into a pattern, for someone who wants to learn how to mirror knit. Because mirror knitting a blanket is the best thing you can ever do, because you don't have to flip it around. In the beginning it's not that much work, but if you have this amount of like weight, flip this thing around back and forth is a lot of hassle. And mirror knitting this is quite fun because it's very short. So you knit this part up and down. So it's quite nice. I learned with this pattern how to mirror knit German short rows, which is quite a thing to put on my CV, maybe, I don't know. I finished off the blanket with a crocheted slip stitch, single stitch, swing single crochet pattern, can you say that? That turned out this, and turning out in this like braided motif as well, which I find that it was interesting. I did a contrast color with some stash yarn I had, very simple, easy breezy. That's it. I need to block this blanket still, but I'm actually waiting for the weather to become better, because I believe that this chunk of bad boy is gonna take like days to dry inside at the moment. It's horrible. Rainy weather, cold weather. So I think I'm gonna wait for spring or summer to block this one. Don't come at me. No. But if you start with a rectangle, you would get a rectangle. If you start with a square, you would get a square. So I'm thinking that would be kind of a fun to try as well with some scrap yarn, which is a really great scrap busting project. And to make it into a rectangle next time would probably be a good idea to try that out as well. All in all, this took 1,008 grams worth of yarn. I used 5mm needle, knitting needle, and I think a 6mm crochet hook with the bulky border. Done. That was it for January, and the stash numbers for January was then great, of course, because I didn't buy any yarn in the month of January. Let me tell you, let me pull out my organizing sheet for January. This is how it looks like. My old whips that I brought into January was the Doodle Tee, the Tekla, the Ted's Blanket, Citrine Light, Heartside, and I did some scrunchies this month, and I started a new whip. After weighing all my stash, I had 15,342 grams of yarn in my stash. I had a number that was not that number from my December end of the year sort of video, and then I weighed everything and it was almost 1,000 grams off. I'm not sure what happened, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna find some yarn somewhere, probably, and then I'm gonna have to recalculate this number. But as of the re-weighing, it was 15,342 grams incoming into January. I finished the Doodle Tee, I finished some scrunchies, the Heartside cardigan, the Ted's Blanket, and then I donated one ball of yarn to my friend that wanted to start knitting. So all in all, out of my stash, 2,159 grams of yarn, which means that either I'm allowed to buy some yarn soon, which I'm definitely gonna do, or I'm doing great for the year goal of finishing up with less than 10,000 grams of yarn, because at the moment I have in my stash, or at the moment of the end of January, 13,183 grams of yarn. And what I'm really excited about is the fact that I took away quite a lot of acrylic yarn, which I was also having as a goal for this year, to balance it better, to get rid of more acrylic yarn than wool, because that's what I tend to knit the most. All right. The new whips coming in January was one tank top that I'm going to talk about. But let's move on to February month, which right now looks like that for the first page, and that is my overview for February. Now, let's talk about my whips. And starting with the oldest whip, as always, is Tekla. The Tekla sweater by Marianne Nørby is a free pattern from Hobby, I believe, and a need or a want to finish this type of yarn that I also had in my stash. This is from a supermarket here in the Netherlands. It is a mohairy type of situation, which is very like a halo-y, can you see? It is fully synthetic yarn, but it's light since the mohair. So it would create quite a airy type of situation, which it also did. I have 2 different colors, and when I saw Marianne Nørby's pattern, I was like, teeny tiny stripes with these 2 yarns hold together will create some kind of airy color work situation, and a piece that's like an in-between piece, if you understand what I mean. So not summer, not winter, spring. This is how far I've come. I have had it on hold. I have not been super excited to work with it, but I chugged along in January, and when I realized I was done with the body, I was like, ooh, that's kind of nice. So here it is. It's an oversized, and I think it's going to become even more oversized when I block it, because this pattern of stitches is quite, you know, accordion-like, with a thick hem in the bottom. Nice. And I've come so far that I made one sweater, one sleeve, and I'm now starting on the hem, and the hem is going to be quite long as well, the same length as the border, the hem border. And then after that, I'll do the second sleeve. I've actually picked up the stitches for the second sleeve, and then I chopped off the end, but at least it's picked up. And that, my friends, is my tip to you if you are like me, that you don't like picking up the sleeve stitches. I like picking up stitches when it comes to structurally in like the neckline or the hem or whatever. I love that. And specifically if you have a very clear pickup rate. This pattern had a very clear pickup rate. Pick up 3 stitches every 2 stripe. Perfect. I can do that. What I hate is a pattern going, now pick up 52 stitches in the arm. And you go, how? When? Please help. And you just go, fuck it, I'm not doing that. However, what I did was I picked up one and then I straight away picked up the other. And that was the goal for the day. I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm just gonna pick up these 2 sleeves and then put them on hold. And now they're done. Now I picked it up. So when I'm done with this sleeve, I can just continue with the second one. This is my try to get rid of Sleeve Island. You're welcome. Please let me know how that goes for you, and if you think that's a good idea. All right. You knit this pattern in a 6 knit, 6 purl sequence. And with the teeny tiny stripe and the colors being very close to each other, it's a very interesting fabric. The shoulder is really nice as well. It gives you this, like you start with the pattern from here and then you connect it into the sleeve. So that's also really nice. And then you sort of pick up stitches from, or I guess you increase the stitches then out from the body. So far so good. I am on a really good roll, and I hope I'm gonna finish this sweater in February so I can start having it in the springtime. Now, it's not the coziest, it's not like the softest yarn, I knew that coming in, but it's quite nice, airy, light, and still a little bit of warmth. I like it. What am I going to do with the rest of these two? Probably, to be fair, throw it away. Because I did mine. It's not great to have. That's fine. Sometimes it's fine to let go of yarn that you don't like. I don't think anyone in my near vicinity will want those two balls either. So yeah, it's a waste, but hey, at least I made one sweater out of it, and that's gonna be fine. My second project that I have on my needles is the Citrine Light. I haven't come that far on it, other than that I've tried it on. Therefore, I have it on the tubing, and I come like 10 centimeter on the body. Therefore, I tried it on just to see that it fits me, and it fits me really good. I finished the ball on the first ball on the body, and since I have a lot of stockinette knitting at the moment, my plan for today and for this weekend was to pick up one of the sleeves. And as I just said, I think I will pick up both sleeves and have it over with. Because this one I don't think is as clear of how many stitches you should pick up per whatever, you know? So I'm going to pick up the stitches and I'm going to start on the sleeve. The sleeve is a 1x1 twisted rib. If you do that in English style knitting, it's the worst. If you knit it in continental style knitting, as I do, it's not that bad. And then this is the whole sleeve, so it's a lot of knitting, but I think I'm gonna make it worth, I'm gonna make this one as a palette cleanser to my other stockinette stitch pattern, whips. But so far so good, and I absolutely like it. This one I'm like, I don't want to go too fast because I want to treasure it, and I want to like, I want to savor every moment of this one, and I've never felt like that before, and I'm not in a hurry, and I'm gonna take it as easy and as like calmly as I can. This is definitely like a March-April sweater wear, so I have some time, but this might be the focus after the Tekla. That's my second whip. My fourth whip is my rainbow top. Have I talked about the rainbow top? Probably not, because this I started the second I was done with the tea. So you haven't seen it probably. Since this summer, I have thought about a tank top that is not knit from the bottom up and is not knit with a lot of different parts and a lot of different pickups and a lot of like coming back and fixing and finishing and stuff like that. So sort of like a seamless tank top knit from the top. Now, that's not gonna work because you still have parts. But hear me out. This is the rainbow top. And it's only named like that because I used leftovers from the doodle tea. And it's a rainbow. Look at that. It is a rainbow. I chose to start from the lightest colors going to the darkest colors. And right now I have knit myself to the greens. This is I think is the last color combination, so it will be a light green and then a dark green, and I think I'm done after that. I tried it on yesterday and I'm in a good chunk down of the body, so that's good. Right. I knit it with one strand of the Doodle Tea fingering weight wool yarn and one strand of Drops mohair, silk mohair, to get a sort of like a sport between a fingering weight and a sport weight top. A little bit fluffy tank top. There you go. The reason why I did it is not sort of because do you wear a tank top that have mohair in it? Yeah, maybe. It's quite soft, it's quite okay, so I think I will wear it just like that. But it really is to try on the technique. Now, the technique. I took the cast on from the Citrine Light sweater, and it's a crochet cast on which I really liked. Then the same as the citrine light starts to have a cast on, and then it goes 2 ways seamlessly. That's where I got the idea as well for this starting at the shoulders. So there you pick up, you cast on, you increase with a KFB in every stitch, so you get double stitches, and then you put one of the half of them on a other, on a try-on tubing, for example, and you split it like that, and then you start knitting from 2 ways, like that. Does that make sense? You cast on, you double the increase rate, and then you sort of part ways from 2 ways. And then I started knitting. Now, that's all good. That's all fine. That's probably in any other tank top as well. But the second part I wanted to fix on a tank top, which I had issues with, was the coming back to fixing the edge. So therefore, I chose to make a rolled edge, like an I-cord edge, a little bit like the edges of the Sophie scarf. But Sophie scarf is a garter stitch, so you do it like twisted 2 ways. This is twisted both ways, if that makes any sense. So you get this nice rolled hem on both places. All right, so far so good. I made 1 strap down, 2 straps down. I increased in the rate where I thought was nice. The back is a little bit higher, the front is a little bit lower. And then you get to the point of connecting the 2 pieces in the front and the back. That I made with a I-cord cast on. So another element that I took from the internet, I think. So you get a continuation of the I-cord into the cast on to connect the 2 pieces. And from there, you knit for front and back for a little bit. You increase for the armpit. And then you do the same for that when you want to connect the front and the back. You also do a I-cord cast on. And here you can see that I haven't finished off the 2 casts on yet. And from here, you take the 3, it's a 3 stitch cast I-cord. You take the 3 stitches from the front, the 3 stitches from the back, and you kitchenaire sew stitch those 2 together to make actually a seamless I-cord. And I also go in and tuck in a little bit to make it like a little bit nicer with the end I have. I keep quite a long end. And as you can see, I have quite a lot of ends to weave in because I have a lot of colors. I did it on the first, but not on the second armpit. And from there, you start knitting down in a tube. You go. And it's, at this point, of course, so relaxing. So in my mind, this is the perfect tank top. You have a lot of technical parts in the beginning, which makes you like endorphin high, mine at least. And you fiddle with it, and it's not too much knitting. You get far very fast. And then you have some fun, nice little structural pieces to work out. And after that, you go. You knit, and this is okay. Stockinette stitch, you go. If you have 1 color, you just go there. Or if you have multiple colors, I didn't mind the thickness of the stripes. I just knitted until I was done with that color. So therefore you get these different sizes of the bands. But I think that's fun. I think that creates sort of like a nice, fun little adventure with the colors. My idea, of course, is to go from light to dark, just to have like a nice drape of the garment. I don't know how I will finish it yet. I think I will finish it with a just a normal cast off that you do like an extra stitch so it doesn't roll, because this is the stockinette. I don't think I will do a roll hem because that will just get thicker, you know, so that's my plan so far, but I'm not sure. I'll try something out. Rainbow top, or the perfect top by me. So that's how far I have from the first green, and then I have quite a lot from the second green, and I will pair that with the black I had. This is really the mohair I found in my closet as well, so it's a good stash buster. And then I will finish up with as much length as I need to finish the garment. Great, that's my rainbow top. Bear with me, I only have 2 more whips and then we're done for today. You know the story of the poncho. I was done with it. I was trying it on and then I wasn't happy with it. So I decided to rip half of it off. But in my mind, it was fine because it's a quick knit. I want it to be perfect. I want it to fit me and I want to use it. But now I actually want to start using it. Anyway. This is the yarn from December Advent calendar. It's held double, fingering weight yarn, held double to get a DK weight yarn. It's my own concoction of a poncho. It has a thick neck, love that for me. It has all the colors of the Advent calendar, that is Wicked theme. And now, if you are really paying attention and paid attention from the last podcast and December Advent, you can see that the colors are not the same order as they were before I ripped it. And in my opinion, it is better. Ooh, look, fine. So I ripped it off until the green, right? That's what the plan was, and that's what I did. And then I started knitting the pink. Everything was connected because I did a tie-on joint every 20 grams that I have every day I had. So everything was joined, so nothing had to be like rejoined, and it was a big cake. But the point of the pink going into green, again, I changed my mind because at that point the ending was pink, the middle was green, and I was like, why? Actually, I don't have to keep it that way, and I didn't actually like it to begin with that much. But I followed the idea of the designer, of course. So when I got to the ending of the pink and was gonna start to green, I basically just flipped the two around. I took away the joint from the green and I flipped around the whole cake, starting from the center, or the other way around anyway. And I rejoined the pink to the pink. That then turned into purple. That then turned into blue. And here I am. Only a couple of colors left, so it will turn to the dark blue, pink again, really like dark pink, magenta maybe, and then finish up with the green. And what will happen after that is the cuffs, which I could then use the green I had, and it will fit with the green. Oh my god! That's how I felt like when I found this out. I think it's very smart. Sorry to say, I think it's genius. And I'm really loving it so far. And this is my evening knitting. Chugga along. And I'm almost done with it. I'm going to finish the blue today. The purple probably the next day. And then I'm going to get into the green and see if we can finish it by the end of the week. And then do the cuffs. Then the bind off was originally in the Streamlight Rust, which turned out really good with that color. I'm not doing that anymore then. So I will see how I will bind off, if I will do the I-cord, if I will do the roll hem or something else. I'll figure that out when I get there. So that's the poncho. Oh, I'm sorry. I have another finished object. I I made a basket liner. Look at that. I made a basket liner for my basket thingy here. Completely forgot that. Scrap yarn, crochet. I think it's called a moss stitch in crochet. I did completely just the increases. The increases I wanted to turned out like so. I have it next to my chair here, holding my whips. Look at that, and it's brilliant, gorgeous, and a lot of acrylic yarn went away from that that project, and that basket liner took 543 grams of yarn. Great, I love that for me. 6mm hook. Wow, that was such a random way of ending this podcast. I said I had 2 whips left. Yes, I do have 2 whips left. The whip I really have left is a start of a new design as well. Is a top-down hat, ribbed top-down hat with a little bit of inspiration from the Musselburgh hat, but it's ribbed and a different way of increasing and all of that. But that's somewhere else. I'll talk about that next time. Oh, that's it, guys. All right. Wow. Thank you so far for listening. There is a bunch of new people here on the channel, so hey, thanks for stopping by and thanks for joining us into this weird corner of the internet. I am a millennial that doesn't enjoy social media or the internet that much. So this is me trying to become more used to that. Ugh. It's a bit awkward, I know, but anyway. February, what February holds for me is finishing it. February, I think, unofficially. I will finish the Tekla, I will finish the poncho, I will work on the citrine, I will not finish that one, and so on. And then I have a bunch of ideas to what to do next. So actually, I think next podcast will be a lot of new whips, which is very exciting for me, at least. So I hope you join me then. And I hope you have a great weekend, first of all. And find time for yourself, if that was what you want. Find time for your knitting or crochet or craft or drinking wine, if that's what you want. And yeah, stay warm, stay safe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.